Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I am starting a vlog. So in my October TBR video, which I can link above and below, I talked about how I wanted to do, besides my regular horror TBR for the month, I wanted to do a Goosebumps reading challenge. And yeah, I wanted to read 31 Goosebumps books in 31 days. Obviously, the 1st to the 31st of October. Not a book a day, but just over the 31 days, read 31 of the original Goosebumps books. So I went to the library yesterday and got, or was it the day before yesterday? It doesn't matter. I went and I said, oh, where's your Goosebumps section? Because I was like, couldn't find it. And it was like this big. I don't know if it's because it's getting closer to October. And so that, you know, there's a lot, people are getting them out. But they only had 5 of the original series. They had like Slappy's World. They had like some of like the runoff series or like the kind of spin-off series. They had like a handful of those, but honestly, they didn't have a ton to begin with. And thankfully, Libby does have a ton of the audiobooks and a ton of the ebooks. So I will rely on those as well. But I did want to get some of the physical ones. But good news, I did request about 12 more physical Goosebumps books from my library. So they are going to be, you know, bringing them from other libraries in my county, and then I can pick them up. So, but I'll get started on these 5. This is the beginning of the vlog. I have not read any of them yet. Officially, tomorrow is the first day because tomorrow is October 1st. So, but I'll just tell you the ones I got here. So the one I got was The Ghost Next Door, How I Got My Shrunken Head, Let's Get Invisible, Monster Eggs from Mars, and The Girl Who Cried Monster. Those were literally my only options. So I don't think I think Let's Get Invisible is like a pretty popular one, but I don't know if the rest of them are. But I did request some of the more very popular ones. So hopefully in a few days I can pick those up from the library. But again, like I said, I will be supplementing with ebooks and audiobooks in the meantime. So tomorrow we are going to start on this reading challenge. Please let me know in the comments below your favorite Goosebumps book. And of course, I'll be done with the challenge if I make it, of course, hopefully, when you see this. So, but hopefully I'll read all the hot ones, the most popular ones, the favorites. Yeah. So my favorite one, I remember very much reading one about a snowman, this snowy kind of isolated town. That's the one I remember the most from being a kid. So I'm gonna try to find that one. I'm sure it's an abominable snowman one or something. But yeah, starting out with these 5, and of course Libby will come to the rescue as always. So let's keep reading. Hello everyone, it is October 1st. Hello, Buffy says hi as well. Yes, it's October 1st, so the challenge officially starts today, and it's getting off to a good start. So, as I mentioned in the last clip, I was able to only get 5 Goosebumps books from my library, but I was able to request more to be brought in from other libraries. So, I have the 5 still that were from the last video, and then this morning, so a couple of those, 7 of the 12 that I requested came in, so I ran over to the library to grab those. So I'll tell you which ones I have. I have Night of the Living Dummy, Night of the Living Dummy 2, Welcome to Camp Nightmare, Shocker on Shock Street, The Scarecrow Walks at Midnight, The Haunted Car. I feel like that one's not going to be very good. We'll see. And One Day at Horrorland, which I think is one of people's favorites. So that's, let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's 12 physical books. And I had some errands to run this morning, so I started my first book. And I think it was very appropriate to start with the first book in the series, which is Welcome to Dead House. So I got that audio. It's only 3 hours, so I was listening to it as I was doing my doing grocery shopping and other things. So I'm 70% through now. I have less than an hour left, 49 minutes left in this first one. So this is the first one of the challenge, number 1, the first Goosebumps book. So I thought that was good. Yeah, it's about Amanda and Josh who move into a house, a kind of a creepy house that was left to their dad from like an unknown uncle that died and left them this house for free. So they move into it, of course, because they could sell their other house and keep all the money. So, but yeah, some strange things start happening in the house, and they make some new friends around the neighborhood. But those kids are kind of strange as well. So they've been noticing some strange stuff. I don't remember which books I read. Well, some of them I remember from like my childhood, but if I remember like reading it, I will let you know, even though I'm sure I've read all these when I was a kid, because I just devoured like 3 of these a day. So yeah, that's it. I am working well into my first book of the challenge, book number 1. And yeah, I will let you know what I think of it when I finish. So I'm going to be trying to do a mix of the physical books as I can get them, ebooks, and the audiobooks, because Libby does have a very good, my library on Libby does have a very good selection of Goosebumps books. I'm going to try to stick to just the original series. They do have a lot of like the spin-off series, like Slappy's World and all that, Most Wanted, all those other ones. But I am going to try to stick to the original series if I can get my hands on 31. So yeah, I will continue reading Dead House, and I'll get back to you. Hi everyone, it's much later. I finished Welcome to Dead House, and I enjoyed it. It's actually more like Welcome to Dead Town. I thought it was going to be more of like a haunted house story. It really wasn't a haunted house story. It was more of like a cursed / haunted town. Yeah, so pretty good first book in the series. You know, I thought that was an appropriate one to start off with. So yeah, I finished it. Book 1 is done, and now we're on to book number 2. So I started the next book. I was FaceTiming with my niece, and I had this big stack. Like, she likes Goosebumps. She's not old enough to read them on her own, but she does like to have them read to her. And I showed her the big stack of books that I got, and she was like so excited, wanted to see all the covers. I said, okay, you pick the next couple ones I'm gonna read. So she picked 3, and one was Welcome to Camp Horror. One's the Horrorland or whatever, like the amusement park one. And then The Girl Who Cried Monster was the other one that she picked. So I started with this one. We actually read the first chapter together on FaceTime, which was nice. To do that more. We need to do that more with her. Actually, like reading to her over FaceTime. Like we could pick a book and like read. That's actually a really good idea. I will do reader stories when I'm visiting, and I help put her to bed. But we should have a book and like me and her brother and her all read it together. Like I can read it to them over FaceTime. That's a good idea. I should do that. Anyway, so yeah, we're doing The Girl Who Cried Monster, and I am on chapter 15, page 84. So yeah, well through it. Let me see here. Yeah, there's probably about a quarter left. So I probably will be able to finish this tonight, and that would be book 2. So we will see how I go. I definitely obviously want to start reading my books that are not part of this challenge. I already finished one, but I'm going to start my other ones. But I wanted to get a good start on the Goosebumps challenge. So let's finish reading this one. Hi everybody. Okay, so I just finished The Girl Who Cried Monster. Just finished it up. It was actually good. It was better than, I mean, I've only read 2. I read all these when I was a kid, but I have very little recollection. But I definitely like this better than Welcome to Dead House. So this is about Lucy, and she is obsessed with monsters. She loves like telling people about monsters, trying to make people believe monster stories. She scares her brother a lot. She annoys her family, her parents about it. And yeah, so when she actually sees that the librarian, the local librarian, is a monster and no one believes her, she sets out to prove that he is in fact a real monster. And I'm like, he can't be that bad. He like likes turtles. No, he likes to eat turtles alive, shell and all. So that was like horrible, like ultimate villain here. Yeah, the parents are very questionable in this because they left a 6-year-old home alone while they went grocery shopping. And also they call their daughter like lazy and that she's a quitter. Like from an adult perspective reading this, like that is some, trauma fuel for her when she gets older. So yeah, but I really like this one. Did I mention the twist? There was a big twist at the end that I did not see coming that I actually really enjoyed. So great second book. Hello, it is October 2nd, and I am bringing you another update on my Goosebumps journey. So I have started an audiobook for book 3, and that is Phantom of the Auditorium. See that there? See, I am a huge Phantom of the Opera fan, so when I saw that there was the ebook for Phantom of the Auditorium, I had to read it. Obviously, it's inspired by Phantom of the Opera, so love that story. And I wanted to see what the Goosebumps take was on it. Again, I don't really remember reading a ton of these when I was a kid. I've read all of them, I'm sure, but retained very little. So that's one good thing about this little challenge, because it's kind of like I'm reading them for the first time, because it's been many, many, many years. Yeah, so I am 50% through. I'm halfway through chapter 13, and yeah, it's fine. It's getting started. So it's about this class at school. And there's like this legend at the school that there was a phantom living there, and they found this like cursed play, and for the first time they're gonna like put it on. There's like all this lore about this play and a kid that went missing a long time ago. So they're finally gonna like put on this play, and our two main characters are cast as the leads. And yeah, there's been some like phantom, like her best friend her guy best friend is cast as the Phantom, but he'll show up in this like Phantom outfit, but then he's not at school or he's somewhere else, so it can't be him. So, and this Phantom person keeps telling her to like stay away from my home sweet home. So we're trying to figure out who the Phantom is, and he doesn't like that they're doing this play, and also that there's like a trap door on the stage, and there's like a whole area under the stage, and they went down there, and I guess the Phantom doesn't like that. That's where he lives, so he doesn't want them down there. So they're realizing now that the Phantom isn't Zeke, her friend, and that something really weird is going on. So yes, we are halfway through, and I will report back when I'm done listening to it. Okay, so I have just finished Phantom of the Auditorium, and yeah, I was really excited for this one, like I said, because I really love Phantom of the Opera, and it was pretty predictable, even from like the kid's standpoint, like from like a young reader standpoint. Like I definitely would have seen it even as a kid, like the ending coming. So yeah, I didn't love this one as much as I thought I would. I kind of had high hopes for it, but yeah, didn't love this one. But number 3 is done. I also started reading one of the books with my niece, so we are going to read a little bit on FaceTime every other day. And she chose Welcome to Camp Nightmare. So we're currently reading that. I'm on page 10. So this one probably will be one of the last ones I finish, perhaps, because I'm reading it with her. So this one will probably take me the longest, because I'm only reading a few chapters at a time with her. But if, we don't get to the end, by the time it gets close, I'll have to finish it on my own and just read it with her anyway. But yeah, so we are also currently reading Welcome to Camp Nightmare. Let's see, I don't know the next one I'm gonna, oh yeah, I have to read this one next because I let my niece pick the order that I'm reading them in. So the next one is going to be One Day at Horrorland, which I know is like a super favorite of people's. It was my sister's favorite. She said she has a shirt of it, so I have no recollection of this one. It's like a, yeah, like a horror themed like amusement park, which sounds really cool. Okay, everyone, it is October 4th, so I'm coming with an update. This I actually finished last night, but it was too late to film an update. So I said the next book I was going to read was One Day at Horrorland. And this is like a fan favorite. Like, it's my sister's favorite. She has a shirt of it. A lot of people love this one. They actually made, I didn't know this, but this is a prequel. Or this is like the first book, and then they had the whole Horrorland series, like spin-off of this. So very popular. And unfortunately, I didn't really love it. I feel like the idea, the concept is amazing of a horror-themed amusement park. Is this family they're trying to go to a Zoo Gardens park, and they get lost. And they all of a sudden come across signs for Horrorland, and they're like, okay, they're intrigued. So they going there because they can't find the other park they wanted to go to. And it has things like Werewolf Village, the Doom Slide, Coffin Cruise, Welcome to the Theme Park Where Nightmares Come to Life. And this is a prequel to the all-new Goosebumps Horrorland series. So yeah, obviously this book started a whole nother series. And the concept is really cool of like the horror themed amusement park. I just think it just wasn't the things that they chose to go on, like the rides, other than the Coffin Cruise. The Coffin Cruise was actually really cool, creative. I thought it was amazing. The Coffin Cruise was great. The other ones, I just didn't think were very interesting. So great concept. But I just didn't love it. It wasn't my favorite. So disappointed because it was this is like one of people's favorite Goosebumps books. So the hype, I'm sure, played a part in it. But yeah, Coffin Cruise was like one of the coolest like Goosebumps kind of like scenes that I've read. But overall, it didn't do well, especially in the very beginning. Something happens to their car and it's just very strange. I feel like that would have been better if the car incident happened when they tried to leave the park like at the end. But yeah, and a very weird ending too. It was just a weird one. So yeah, we're moving on. And we are moving on to The Ghost Next Door. So Hannah like is spending, everybody always has, it's always usually a girl, and then she always has a younger brother. She has 2 younger brothers in this one, like twins. But anyway, she is spending summer vacation. All of her friends have gone up to camp or on vacations, and a boy moves in next door, which is weird because that house has been abandoned for a while, and she didn't notice anybody moving in. So she's noticing some strange things. It still looks so deserted, but she's seeing him around, and he looks like so pale, and she's starting to get like, have this weird like shadowy figure follow her around, like calling her name that she's freaking out about. So yeah, that's the plot for this one, and I have started it this morning, and I'm on chapter 8, 42 pages in. So I definitely will finish this one today. Yeah, I finished reading one of my regular TBR books yesterday, Under the Surface, which was amazing. I'll talk about that in some other video. Under the Surface. So I think this weekend, because this is a Saturday, I think this weekend I'm really going to focus on Goosebumps books and then start on my TBR again on Monday. So yeah, we're going to see how many Goosebumps books we can get through this weekend. So the first one of the actual weekend is The Ghost Next Door. Hey everyone, it's the same day. It's still October 4th, and I just talked to you about One Day at Horrorland, but I finished my first book technically of the weekend, and that's The Ghost Next Door. Now I will say that this one, for the first half, was probably the most boring. And I was like, what is the point of all this? I already told you what it was about. Like, Hannah thinks a ghost boy has moved in next door, and she's trying to prove that he's a ghost. And he has like these like really like troublemaking friends, and they have a whole thing where they like get in trouble a lot. And I'm like, what is the point of some of these like threads? But the big twist totally saw coming like from very early on, which is fine. It's for the age group that is in, like it's not going to be too hidden, but except for in The Girl Who Cried Monster, that was a very like what hidden twist. But anyway, the twist was very obvious, but there was actually more to it. The twist had like a B twist as well, and I just thought that this one plot wise was the best thought out of the other ones I've read so far. This is the 5th book, so out of the 5 I've read so far, I thought this one was the best thought out. There were threads throughout it that all came together at the end. I think it had a good ending. Yeah, I just think this one was the most well-rounded. Now, was it the most entertaining? No, but from a writing perspective, I think this one was the best written so far. So, didn't have high expectations going in with this one, and I actually really liked it. This one's next. Okay everyone, hello. We have a pretty big update today. It is Sunday, October 5th. I've been cleaning all day, so I have gotten a little bit of reading done from yesterday and listening and all that stuff. So let's give you the update. So book number 6, I finished last night before bed, is Egg Monsters from Mars. And this was actually a really unique story. I actually liked this one. I liked that the villain, or like the big bad, if you're into Buffy speak, wasn't a monster or like a ghost or something. But yeah, it's about Dana who finds this like pale green egg that we see on the cover, and it hatches this little monster. well, actually, it's alien. That's kind of like a scrambled egg looking creature. And he's really into science, and he wants to find out what this is, because he obviously doesn't recognize it as any animal he's ever seen. So he takes it to this lab, and the scientist is going to help him find out what it, tell him what it is. But the scientist might not have his best interests at heart. So, yeah, I liked it. The most unique Goosebumps book I've read so far. And I feel like the ones that I have almost absolutely no expectations for and I think are going to be bad are actually the ones I'm liking the most. Like, I think the hype is getting to me a bit on some of these. But yeah, liked this one. I liked that it was an alien. I haven't read anything. I mean, I don't know if this is only book 6, but I haven't read anything with aliens in it before with the 6th book. So we'll see if there's any other alien books. I don't think I remember seeing any. But yeah, this one was really cute. I liked that the villain wasn't anything supernatural. And I think the aliens were actually kind of cute. They don't look very cute on this cover, but I think they actually were pretty cute. So that was book number 6. Next, book number 7. I just finished as I was, so I listened to it on audio while I was doing my Sunday reset today, scrubbing showers and all that good stuff. And I picked Why I'm Afraid of Bees. And so this was like very like Twilight Zone, The Fly inspired. And this one was about Gary, who has a rough time. He's not good at anything. He has trouble with kids at school. He gets beat up. He gets bullied. And so he sees this ad for like switch like your life with someone else for a week. And he thinks, you know, like it's like we just swap lives. Like I go to his house and he goes to mine. But it's actually you swap bodies. And so he's like, you know what? I'm sick of my life. I'm going to do it. But something doesn't go right, and he gets turned into a bee, which he's actually also deathly scared of. So he goes on this adventure trying to get his body back, while also trying to adjust to being a bee in the meantime. And something that was interesting, he hates bees. It's like his number one phobia. But he's trying to remember all these facts about bees as he's living as a bee, because he read this All About Bees book. I don't know why you would read an All About Bees book if you were deathly afraid of bees. So that part didn't track for me. But I liked the technology in this, so like kind of like science gone wrong in here. Like, yeah, like so kind of like Twilight Zone, The Fly, definitely. I mean, obviously heavily influenced by The Fly. What else? Yeah, it was cool to see like him living from an animal's perspective, which we have not seen in any of the Goosebumps books yet. So yeah, that one was pretty cool. I liked this one. It was pretty original as well. So the last two were very original. Yeah, so that was book number 7. And then I actually did start book number 8. Whether it's going to be the next one to finish or not, or whether I listen to another audiobook today with doing other things, I don't know. So we'll hold that thought with Night of the Living Dummy. Now, this is one that I don't even know if I read these as a kid, because I have some people are afraid of clowns, some people are afraid of whatever, demons or other like weird things. Dolls for me, guys. It's dolls. Like any kind of doll, like in a horror movie, I'm like, nope. Like I didn't even watch Annabelle until like 2 years ago. And it actually, like, of course, it wasn't as scary it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. That was going to be like a Chucky type of movie. But dolls are like the one thing that I'm like, ugh. So I don't even know if I read these as a kid, because there's quite a few of them. There's at least 3. And I have the second one. So actually I was going to start reading this the other night. I put it by my bedside table, and then I had a nightmare about Slappy. Yeah, so I'm going to read this, and we'll see how I react. I'm sure it's not scary, but it might make me have a nightmare. Who knows? Because dolls are my like thing that freak me out. So I am only right now 3 chapters in. Like nothing's even happened yet. So we'll see if this is the next one I finish or not. But this could be book 8, or you know, it could be a little bit later down the line. Hi everybody, it is October 6th, and I finished a book last night. I finished book 8, Night of the Living Dummy, and this one was interesting because I felt like this, like as I talked before, like I don't like dolls and stuff, so I thought this one was going to be the creepiest for me, but honestly it wasn't. Like we didn't really see the doll move or do anything really until the end. And it wasn't even slappy, which is weird because I don't know if I read these when I was a kid, these ones, particular ones, because I really would have been afraid of him. But Mr. Wood is actually the doll that comes to life. And it's not until like literally the last sentence when Slappy comes to life. Now, whether he was alive all the whole time, and we don't know until Night of the Living Dummy 2, I don't know. I have 2 and I will read it, but I'm not going to read it next. But yeah, I liked that they were twins and that we had 2 dummies, but I always thought Slappy was like the dummy of the whole thing. I mean, he's on the cover, but he's not the dummy in this. So that was just very weird. Yeah, the end, like when they were like fighting, physically fighting with the dummy, I thought that was pretty creepy. But other than that, it wasn't too creepy. Yeah, so a little bit confused about this one, honestly. So yeah, that was number 8. So I started number 9, and that's Let's Get Invisible. Get that tassel out of the way. Let's Get Invisible. And this is about Max, who on his birthday finds a like mirror, an enchanted mirror or a magic mirror up in the attic, and it can turn you invisible. So yeah, he's losing control. Maybe I think he probably starts like liking being invisible and like taking advantage of it and like playing around with it. And then it says that staying invisible he starts staying invisible a little too long, having a harder and harder time coming back. So yeah, so he may be stuck being invisible and have to somehow fix this with the mirror. So yeah, so I'm just started it. I'm on chapter 5, where they have just discovered the mirror, and it has accidentally turned him by turning a light, like pulling a light that's at the top of the mirror. When that light is on, he's invisible. And they've just discovered this. So they're just kind of like wrapping their head around, like, did that really happen? So yeah, page 22, chapter 5. So we'll see how far I can get with this one. This is number 9, and it's the 6th, so I'm still going good. I tell you, if it was just reading the books, it would be a lot less daunting, but like making all of the content for it is actually like the hardest part, I think, of this challenge, like doing the shorts for it and like constantly uploading the shorts. That has been like the hardest part of this challenge. And I'm just really trying to be strategic about which ones I read in physical, make sure I have enough books, because I think I only had 12 or something physical books. That's not 31, obviously. And I've read a couple I've read a couple audiobooks, but there's ebooks. So I'm just trying to like make sure I have exposure to enough 31 of the books fairly easily. So yeah, about halfway through this, we'll run out of physical books to read and have to move on to other things. So yeah, so let's get invisible. Hello, it is Tuesday, October 7th, and we have finished our 9th book. Let's Get Invisible. This was a good one. I feel like the less expectations or less hype I come into a book, the more I end up liking it. If I expect a lot from it, I never am impressed. If I have no expectations or like think I'm not going to like it, I actually end up liking it. I've noticed that pattern, and the pattern continues. Let's Get Invisible. I think I already told you the plot, but you know, all of his friends, Max's friends, are playing with this mirror, and they sort of get addicted to becoming like the feeling of being invisible and like the power of being invisible, like what you can do with it. And yeah, it gets harder and harder for them to come back, and takes longer and longer for them to come back. So yeah, but they're kind of addicted to it. So there are some issues. Great ending. Loved the ending. Little twist. The very last sentence. It was great. The mirror was very unique. The kind of the sinister part of it was very unique. Like the mirror, the power the mirror has, like what's in the mirror. What does the mirror want? All those things. So cool. Parents have no idea how the like the room in their attic was there. I have no idea where the mirror came from. It's just been sitting up there in their house. This one was really good. Really enjoying this. Really enjoyed this one. One of my favorites so far. Lucky number 9, I guess. And then today's read, hopefully I can finish it today, is How I Got My Shrunken Head. Honestly, not one that I'm like super hyped for, but those ones always pay off for me. So lucky number 10, let's see. It says, introducing jungle magic. 2 heads are better than 1. Mark is trapped in the jungle with a shrunken head that has strange powers. Find out what happens in this special collector's edition of a spooky adventure that sold nearly 2 million copies worldwide. Okay. So I didn't know he was in the jungle. That's interesting that he's actually in the jungle with the shrunken head, instead of it just like showing up at his house. I mean, it's on the cover, it's surrounded by like a baseball bat, a glove, like just stuff you'd have in like a boy's bedroom, and then there's a shrunken head. So I don't know. I mean, the jungle aspect definitely would be different and cool. So we will see. This will be book number 10. Hi everybody, it's time for an update. It is Wednesday, October 8th, and I just finished the 10th Goosebumps book. Yes, like we're doing good. We're staying ahead of schedule. And that is How I Got My Shrunken Head. And this is about Mark, who is obsessed with the jungle. He has an aunt that works in the jungle. And one day his aunt's colleague shows up and brings a present from his aunt, which is a shrunken human head. And that night, the head actually starts glowing, and he starts freaking out. And the colleague says, oh, you know what? Your aunt actually wants me to bring you back for a visit. So his mom lets him go off with this strange woman that they've never met before to the jungle in like Southeast Asia. And so, yeah, they get there, and oops, you're actually, like the other people that are there, they're like, your aunt's actually missing. We brought you here to help find her because you have this thing called jungle magic, and that can help us find her. He's like, wait, I don't have any magic. And he's like, yeah, actually, he reads some journals. Actually, your aunt she had like the jungle magic, and she like transferred it to you to keep it safe from these other people. He reads in a diary. So he kind of like runs off into the jungle by himself, well, him and his shrunken head, to find his aunt and like keep the jungle magic from these people that want to use it for evil reasons. So yeah, it was, I mean, very unique. I will give it that. It does feel like icky with like obviously this is a human's head, and I know shrunken heads exist, but like the head is kind of like they say it's not a toy, but yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's icky. And then it's also a little bit icky, like not PC ickiness, where this like jungle magic used to, from what I understand, like belonged to the like native people, because there's like a whole like pile of human heads like from this like native people that used to live on this island, and then the aunt got the jungle magic from them, and then she gave it to Mark, so it like went to this like white boy in America. Yeah, so like I mean, this was, gosh, when was this published? Let's see. 1996. So it's very like, I don't think a kid's book like this would be written this way today. But yeah, a little bit of ickiness with the indigenous people and like the power going to like white people and like the shrunken heads and everything. But it was very unique. Like I liked the setting of the jungle, and which we haven't had anything quite that exotic in a Goosebumps book yet that I've read. So this one was good, but it had some issues. I switched things up and read The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. And this one really surprised me. I was like, oh, it's going to be like obviously a mummy running around forever. But it really wasn't. It was a little bit way more elevated than that. I think it was the best paced and like the most well thought out. It's a lot more elevated than the other Goosebumps books that I've read so far. Like it seemed more mature writing. Like it wasn't too simplistic in the writing and everything and in the plot. a lot of Goosebumps books have a lot of like false jump scares or whatever. Like, I saw this and I screamed, and it's their younger sibling. Like, there's a lot of that stuff. And this one had way less than that. Like, it was like way more elevated, and it really kept what you would think is like really scary or spooky stuff to like pretty much the end. So I thought it was like actually the most well done Goosebumps book I've read so far as like the plot. And I mean, the main character does say outstanding way too much, which is strange. They just use that word way too much in this book. But yeah, I thought it was really, really good. And I liked how like the last like twist at the end, you thought it was going to be a twist, but there kind of like really wasn't. There is a sequel to this called The Return of the Mummy. So we'll see if I get to that book, because this one was actually really good. So I'm wondering if I will, if I get the chance to read that one in these 31. And yeah, so that was number 11. Number 11 is complete. And since I didn't really talk about it too much, so Gabe, I didn't tell you at all about the plot actually. So Gabe goes to Egypt with his parents, and his parents are both Egyptian. They go back to like, visit. His grandparents were from Egypt, and his Uncle Ben is a like Egyptologist and works in the Great Pyramids, and they just found this new area. So they were going to meet up with Uncle Ben and like all this. So, but his parents were there actually for work. It was kind of like a work and a vacation. So they had to actually go somewhere else for work. So they leave Gabe with his uncle and his cousin, who he doesn't really have a good relationship with. He thinks she's kind of stuck up and a know-it-all. And so he brings them down into the like newly discovered part of the pyramid, because he has to like watch them. But yeah, of course they get into some trouble down there. But there's somebody that's working on the crew that says that, hey, you guys have like kind of like a historian, and he's like, you have unearthed a mummy's curse by entering this part of the pyramid in this tomb. So I won't give any more away of that, but I think it was it was just really good. So yeah, obviously the curse of the mummy is real, and this family has to deal with that. So I really enjoyed it. I think it's my favorite book that I've read so far in this challenge. Hi everyone, it has been a few days since I updated. Today is Monday, October 13th, and we had a couple crazy days, so I haven't updated the vlog, but I have been reading some Goosebumps books. Not as many as I would have liked, but I have kept up. I have kept up with at least one a day. Yeah, we had a crazy couple days. Went to the Chapel Roan concert in Pasadena, and yeah, amazing. So I'm still recovering from that, honestly, and that was a couple days ago. All right, so I have my like little list here, because now I'm getting into like the mid-teens on these books, so I need to have a list. All right, so the next book, book 12 that I've already completed, is Piano Lessons Can Be Murder. And this is about Jerry, who his family and him move into a new house, and he finds a really cool like piano up in the attic. And he decides he's going to take lessons because he wants to learn like rock and roll piano. So he starts taking lessons. Before that, he does hear like piano music in the middle of the night. He starts hearing the piano play by itself. And there's something weird about his piano teacher as well. But his piano teacher thinks he has really great hands, and he should come actually to his school and take lessons, because he was taking lessons at home originally. So yeah, I think this was a really cool idea in concept, but that was not really executed well. Yeah, let's see, what do I want to say about it? The whole idea of like the haunted piano kind of, and like what was kind of behind the teacher and everything, like that was cool. But like the last quarter of the book was just kind of stupid. I just didn't really enjoy it. The twist was, the reveal was cool in theory, but not executed well, I would say. So I did not really enjoy Piano Lessons Can Be Murder. So let's just move on. So the next book, number 13, which I finished, was Be Careful What You Wish For. And this is about Samantha Bird, who is kind of bullied at school. She's not a great like basketball player on her team. She was made fun of a lot for that. And yeah, it's just specifically this one girl named Judith really gives her a hard time. So she runs into this lady who says she does her a favor, gives her directions. So she's like, oh, I'll give you 3 wishes. And the lady, she's like, yeah, okay, sure, lady. But eventually she does make a wish and it kind of comes true. So she makes another wish to get rid of that wish. But kind of like still takes advantage of having a wish come true. And so it's just like this, you know, the very typical story of, you know, like a genie, 3 wishes is never what you actually ask for or what you mean. Like, you have to be careful what you wish for. And yeah, the wishes were stupid. The twists on the wishes were stupid. I just didn't like this one. The lady, like the genie, the lady, the witch, whatever, she was nothing special about her. Like, she was pretty boring. And yeah, like this one, I thought this one could be really cool. And in concept, it could be really cool, but I just don't think this one was executed well at all either. So not so lucky number 13. So my current one that I'm reading is number 14, and that's Say Cheese and Die. And Greg and his friends go into they're very bored. So they go into this abandoned house in town that's very notorious. And they find Greg finds a camera, like a Polaroid camera. And he starts taking pictures of things. And then when they develop, it shows like a really kind of bad premonition. So like, for example, he takes the very first picture he takes is of his friend like leaning like up against a railing. And then after the picture is taken, his friend falls over the railing and like hurts his ankle. And in the picture, it shows him falling, but it was taken before he fell. So yeah, he keeps like kind of being like, oh, that's weird or whatever. And yeah, starts taking pictures and they develop into something that ends up happening. So they don't know if the camera tells the future or if it causes the bad things to happen. So that's where I'm currently at. And I'm liking it so far. I am on chapter 16, 45% through. So I will hopefully definitely finish this one today. I need to. So it's the 13th and I'm on number 14. So I'm just hanging on to staying ahead of this challenge, but I am doing it. So far so good. Yeah, so after the last 2 kind of stinkers, Say Cheese and Die is a classic Goosebumps book. It is a very popular one. There's sequels. There's at least 1 sequel. So yeah, I'm liking it so far. I think it will have a good twist, and even if it doesn't, like I think that it's being executed well. So I'll let you know what I think of it when I'm done. Hello everyone, it is Tuesday, October 14th, and we are talking about book number 14. So my little getting ahead of schedule worked so far, but yeah, so I'm very close to being just on schedule, so I need to get on the ball. Anyway, so book number 14, which I finished, is Say Cheese and Die, which is a classic, beloved Goosebumps book. And it has several sequels, like I think I said that on the vlog previously yesterday. Yeah, so I finished it this morning, and I liked it. I thought the things that happened to the pictures, like what they chose to do with the pictures, and the bad thing that happened to the picture, like whoever was in the picture or the object that was in the picture, I think that was pretty good. I think it was pretty interesting. I actually liked the explanation for the camera, where it came from, why it did what it did. I think that was all good, and the end was good. Yeah, I can see why this is a classic. I liked it. So now, I was going to go right on to Beware of the Snowman, an ebook, but I decided to, I needed to start one. I need to get going. So I started an audiobook, which is My Hairiest Adventure. And I'm 25% through of that, chapter 7, almost chapter 8. And so far, I'm thinking this is going to be like a werewolf, coming. Okay, so it's pretty stupid so far, but I have hope that it's going to be because he doesn't sweat, so he has to get these shots for his sweat glands, which I think he's going to be turning into a dog or a werewolf. And his family hasn't told him that they all turn into werewolves or dogs at a certain age. And he's starting to grow this hair, and he thinks it's because they found this old suntan lotion in a dumpster and they all decided to put it on them, which is so stupid. But he thinks that's what probably is what's causing it, but I think it's his whole family is either werewolves or something, and he's starting to change. Yeah, I think that's where it's gonna go, and if that's where it's gonna go, then that's more interesting. So I don't know. I don't know on this one, so we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But, and then, yeah, I want to read Beware of the Snowman because that is the one I remember the most from reading as a kid, is Beware of the Snowman. So, yes, we are by the skin of our teeth keeping up. And we're not behind yet, but I'm getting a little nervous, guys. Hello, everyone. It is later the same day, and I finished my Harris Adventure, and I did not like it. I was like, oh, it's going to be cool. It's going to be like a werewolf family. No. Now, the experimenting type of thing, like the town being like all being experimented on, I think that was cool. That was a cool concept. Kind of reminded me of Limetown, the like podcast drama, if you've ever listened to that. Loosely. But yeah, it was just like dogs being turned into kids. Dumb. It was stupid. I thought it was gonna be like a family of werewolves and he's like coming of age and like that would be cool. That would have been a cool twist, but my hairiest adventure was not it. Did not enjoy it. But oh well, on to number 16. Hi everyone, it is Wednesday, October 15th, and I have 2 book updates. So I read Beware the Snowman, and that I finished it like last night right before I went to bed. And that is about Jacqueline, who goes to live with her aunt in a small town near the Arctic Circle, and for reasons unknown to her, and for some reason the people all have these like scary looking snowmen that they build in front of their houses, because she finds out from some of like the neighbor kids that there is like an evil snowman that lives in a cave above the town. And of course Jacqueline doesn't believe this, and she like wants to kind of see what it's all about. She thinks they're all crazy. So we'll see. She's gonna head up to the cave and see what's up. Now this is the Goosebumps book I remember the clearest reading when I was a kid. Like her like walking up this like mountain to like where the cave is and everything. Like I just remember that so clearly. Like her walking into this church in the town. I just remember that so clearly as a kid. I don't know why. And because I just grew up in Ohio, so it just reminds me of the Arctic Circle where we have, like in Ohio where we have freezing cold winters. Maybe it was that. But yeah, I liked this one. The twist was good. I was like, I actually didn't know which way this was gonna go. The ending I liked. Yeah, very atmospheric. I loved how they described, I mean, obviously it's on the front of the book, the snowman, but I loved how they described the snowman. You could just really see it in your mind's eye. Really good, cool atmosphere up on the Arctic, near the Arctic Circle. I thought it was pretty cool. And then the next one, which I just finished not too long ago, is Deep Trouble. And this is about Billy and Sheena, who they have an uncle who is a scientist, and he works, kind of sounds like Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. They go and stay with their uncle on like summer vacation or something, because he is like a marine biologist and he like stays on his boat, so that he lets them come with them. And Billy is convinced that he keeps seeing weird things in the water. Yeah, that's all I'm really gonna say about it. And so there might be some like mythical sea creatures in this. So from the front of it, this hammerhead shark on it, I thought that this was going to be like a kid's Jaws. So I was really excited about it because I'm like, ooh, Jaws. But like, the Goosebumps version of Jaws. It wasn't. A hammerhead shark does show up in like one part of the book, but this cover is very misleading. It's a good cover, but it is not representative of the book. So it's actually about mermaids. Mermaids in the sea, which was fine. Honestly, I didn't find it too entertaining. I thought it was pretty boring. I thought it was going to be like a Jaws thing. So, didn't love this. It was kind of a letdown. I say if I go into them with expectations, they let me down. If I don't, I usually like them. So, couldn't help it though. I like saw this cover and I was like, yes, sharks, like Jaws for kids, gonna be exciting. No, not really. Hello everyone, it is Friday, October 17th, and I have 3 updates for you. So the first book that I've read was Go Eat Worms, which is a classic. It's number 21. And, but for me, it was number 18, but it's 21 in the Goosebumps series. So book number 18, Go Eat Worms. It's about Todd, who's obsessed with worms. And the worms really don't have much to do with it until like the very end. The worms are there, but it's really just about like a sibling rivalry between him and his sister until the very end, where worms actually like do something. So it wasn't necessarily really spooky. Like there was like one scene where something supernatural or spooky or whatever happened. So I don't really get that one. I don't really get it. Yeah, don't get it. But it was the grossest one. It was the grossest one that I've read so far. So if you're even a little bit squeamish, don't read Go Eat Worms. It was pretty nasty. So yeah, keep that in mind if you want to read Go Eat Worms. The next one I read was A Shocker on Shock Street. So this is number 19, book number 19. So I was getting pretty close to like the number of books on the day, like number 16 on the 16th. So I like blasted through like 3 books yesterday because I wanted to like feel more comfortable about like the progress. Yeah, so today's the 17th and I've read 20 books, so I feel a little bit better about catching up because I take like 1 day off or 2 days off. It like catches up really quickly. But yeah, so this was number 19, Shocker on Shock Street. And this one is about Aaron and Marty, and they love like horror movies that are done by a certain studio, kind of like Blumhouse, but it's called Shocker Street. And her dad like helps design amusement parks. So he lets her and her friend be the first ones to do the studio tour for Shocker Street. And like, yeah, they get to do it first, give him feedback. And yeah, of course, like scary stuff, crazy stuff happens. For the beginning of this book and like most of it, I was like, this is what One Day in Horrorland was trying to do. But again, it fell short. They were talking about even on the back, they're talking about all these different like characters, like the Toadnator, Ape Face, the Mad Strangler, like all these people like from these fictional horror movies, but we don't see any of them in this book. It's like bats and worms and people like zombies, I guess, like stuff like that, but you actually don't see, I don't know if the praying mantis is a character from one of the movies, but that's in the book, but I thought we were going to see like specific characters that they were like in the movies in here, and they don't really. So that was a letdown, and the ending was stupid. So again, I had high expectations for this one, and it let me down. So didn't love number 19, and then number 20. We are getting there, guys. We are getting there. Number 20 was Welcome to Camp Nightmare. Now, if you remember, I mentioned this earlier in the vlog that I was reading this over FaceTime to my niece. So my niece pretty much forgot about it. So I was like, I need to finish this book. I need to like keep going. So yeah, this one also seemed like pretty good. So this is about Billy goes to Camp Night Moon for the first time, and he makes some friends, but then people like start disappearing. And there's also this abandoned, what do they call it? The forbidden cabin or something like that. It's like a cabin up on the hill that's like, don't go up there. There's like a monster up there. It'll get you. And yeah, some weird stuff are happening. And there's also a girls' camp across the way. And like they're saying that people are disappearing at their camp. And there's all this crazy stuff are happening and people start disappearing. This was really, really good. I honestly had no idea how this was going to end, where it was going to go. It kept me guessing, like it was entertaining. Like again, this is one of the ones where I forgot I was reading like a children's book or like a middle grade book, but the end was a letdown. Yeah, the end was really stupid, but I did enjoy the vast majority. Up until like the last chapter, like the twist was just dumb, but up until the last chapter, I really enjoyed this. This was actually really good. This has been a pretty daunting challenge. Like, I've barely read more than my other TBR, like my 5 like horror books. I've barely read a Beyond That because I've been spending all my time reading Goosebumps books. So I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 physical copies here. And then I have like 4, whatever it is, 4 ebooks, audiobooks. So that'll be all of the ones I need. So I'm not sure which one I'm gonna read next. Yeah, I have Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns, The Headless Ghost, The Scarecrow Walks at Midnight, Night of the Living Dummy 2, which will be interesting because The Living Dummy was such a letdown for me. So maybe that one, I don't know. The Haunted Car, which I have low expectations for, so that means it might be good. The Blob That Ate Everyone, low expectations. And The Haunted Mask, kind of high expectations because this is a classic. This is a classic Goosebumps. This is a haunted house one, and we only really have had Dead House, which really wasn't a haunted house. I'm trying to think if we've had any other haunted house ones. I'm looking at my list here. The Girl Next Door, The Ghost Next Door wasn't really a haunted house. Piano Lessons Can Be Murder had a ghost in it, but it really wasn't about a ghost, haunted house. Yeah, believe it or not, we really haven't had a true haunted house book, so let's go with The Headless Ghost. Hello everyone, it's time for an update. It is Monday, October 20th. I took the weekend off, took a few days off to take a break from the Goosebumps challenge and read A Scar in the Bone, which I've been looking forward to it coming out forever. And it came out, and I got the audiobook and the ebook up on Libby at the same time, which is, again, like my magic potion for reading. I love it. It's ideal. And yeah, so I took the weekend and I read that, loved it. That was the first non-spooky read I've done in October, because usually all through October I only do spooky reads, but with the amount of Goosebumps books I'm reading, I'm just need some other stuff as well. So yeah, that was there will be probably a couple spooky reads this month, but we're talking about the Goosebumps challenge here. So now we're back on the Goosebumps train, and I have 2 updates for you. So book 21 is The Headless Ghost. I finished this a couple days ago, and it is about 2 friends that are like really into this like haunted house in their town. And again, this is like the first like actual like haunted house book, I feel like. Anyway, so their house is called Hill House, and they do like scary tours of it and stuff. It's a business. They take the tours all the time. The guides know them by name. These 2 also love scaring people. They like kind of like torture their neighborhood and always and like scaring like other kids in the neighborhood. And they're getting a little bored of that. Like it's too easy. So they really want to like investigate the myth of the headless ghost that's part of the myth of Hill House. So they are going to sneak off of the tour and stay in the house and go to some areas that you're not allowed to go on the tour. So that's what they're gonna do. This was decent. I like that we actually got a like pretty strictly like haunted house tour. There is several ghosts or like ghost myths in this house, and I think the original ghosts, like the story behind how the house actually got haunted was more interesting than this like kind of like secondary headless ghost boy. So it wasn't the worst Goosebumps book I've read. It wasn't the best. It's kind of in the middle, like forgetful, I guess. So, yeah, but so far it is the most true haunted house book, Goosebumps book that I've read so far. So let's move on to the one I just finished just a few minutes ago. So book number 22 is Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns. Yeah, so this is the one here. Pretty cool cover. And this is about Drew, and she has 3 other friends. And they have this other, like, I don't know, classmates, a boy and a girl, who like always scaring them around like Halloween time. And there was like big Halloween pranks and everything. And Drew and her 3 friends decide that next year they're gonna scare these 2 people. They're gonna like band together, and they're gonna like pull the most like crazy Halloween prank, and they're gonna scare the wits out of these 2 other people that they don't like them. And they're not actually really like nice to them either. The two others are not nice to these 4. And so eventually they, make a plan to scare these 2. And yeah, things go awry. I'll say that. They are trick-or-treating and they end up like being basically abducted by these jack-o'-lantern, people with jack-o'-lantern heads. And they take them to like an area where they have to trick-or-treat forever and eat candy forever and then fill up their bags again, trick-or-treat forever, eat all the candy, make themselves sick, and so they can empty their bags and then trick-or-treat again. Yeah, but 2 of the friends are missing. It's Drew and her friend, and then the 2 people they want to scare. And they kind of get stuck together on this like, adventure. This one was dumb. This is one of the dumbest ones I've read. Very obvious what was happening the whole time. But the twist was so random. Like Earl Stine, like you didn't have anywhere to go with this, so you were just like, I'm just going to default to this like totally random twist that makes no sense. It's a total, like, doesn't make sense within the story at all. This one was bad, guys. I do not recommend this one. It was not entertaining. The twist was stupid, like stupid, even for even for some of the bad twists I've seen in this series so far. So this is like really, this one was pretty bottom of the barrel out of the 22 that I've read so far. So do not recommend. 0 out of 10, do not recommend. What I'm going to read next, I don't know. We'll see. I probably will read another one today. But we will see. And hopefully I have a better outcome with the next one. Hi everyone, update. It is Tuesday, October 21st, and I just finished book 23, The Horror at Camp Jelly Jam. So this is about Wendy and Elliot. They are riding, it was the 90s, guys. They were riding in their family's, like, trailer because they're going camping, and they were riding it on the highway, and it came unhitched from their car, and they just roll away into the woods, and then a camp counselor from Camp Jelly Jam finds them and says, oh, come to our camp. Well, your parents will come look for you. We'll find your parents. So it turns out to be a sports camp that has a really weird, like, big jelly monster looking creature for its mascot with like a king crown on its head. And at this sports camp, when you win an event, you win a king coin. And when you get 6 king coins, you can walk in the winner's walk. So that's like the goal. Like that's the goal for all the kids. Elliot's very competitive and is like really focused on winning these king coins. And Wendy doesn't really care. She just wants to participate and have fun, but she doesn't care if she comes in first, last. Like she just is enjoying herself. But they really push. They do not like if you do not try to win. And then some people start disappearing, some of her little friends that she's made, and she becomes very suspicious about what's going on here. Like, why haven't our parents come? And why can't I I'm trying to get a hold of our parents. And Elliot's completely oblivious. He's having a great time. Like, he doesn't even want his parents to find him. But yeah, Wendy, being the responsible older sister, is going to investigate and see what is going on. This one gave me what Camp Nightmare failed at the very end. So yeah, spooky, weird. The explanation for like the coins and the mascot were very good. It was actually also a little gross, which is fine. It's a spooky Halloween read. Like there could be some like little bit of grossness in it. So, but creative like grossness. But I was like, ooh, when I was reading it, which was effective. Yeah, liked the twist. There wasn't really like a big twist. I liked the reveal. I liked the ending. And yeah, this is basically what Camp Nightmare was trying to do, but didn't deliver for me. But Camp Jelly Jam showed up and showed Camp Nightmare like what was up. It was, yeah, Camp Jelly Jam is superior. Again, had 0 expectations coming into this one, and I liked it. So that's just, I guess that's how it's going with these books. Hello, everyone. It is October 23rd. It's a Thursday. And I have 2 updates for you. So the first book I read was book number 24, and that it was the Abominable Snowman of Pasadena. So Jordan and Nicole live with their dad. This is in Pasadena. And I liked, something I right off the bat liked about this one was that it shows like one of only 2 books, Goosebumps books that I've read so far in the series that show something other than the like typical female mother, male dad, married family structure. So in this one, Jordan and Nicole's parents are divorced. And their mom lives in Pennsylvania. They obviously live in Pasadena, California, and they kind of are living with their dad. So it was nice to see like that it wasn't just like mom, dad, married, kids. It was nice to see because a lot of kids' parents are divorced. So it was kind of good that was, it wasn't made a big deal out of it, but that was that's a lot of kids' reality. So I did like that. And the other one was Beware the Snowman, where the dad was unknown and the mom had passed away. So she lived with an aunt. So like living with another family member or something like that. I liked seeing a little bit of variety in like the home life and like the home situations. Because not everybody has that like situation. So those are few and far between, I've noticed. So Jordan and Nicole, their dad is a photographer, like a wildlife photographer, and he has to take them with him to Alaska because usually he has like a neighbor watch them. He has to go to Alaska because they want him to come and kind of investigate this like creature and get pictures of it and kind of see what it is, like, get evidence of whatever this is that's been being sighted. So he has to bring Nicole and Jordan with him. They have there's a sled dog. They have a guide, like a local guide, and they takes them from like the small town out to this cabin. And yeah, Jordan and Nicole wander off and they might discover this cave. They might fall into this like cave and there might be something hibernating in there. And yeah, maybe the city of Pasadena comes back into it, like back into California. I'm not going to say any more, but, well, I am going to say more. This one was pretty okay. The barren, like Alaska thing was cool. The monster or the snowman was like, whatever, wasn't really that interesting. And I thought it would have been cool if, especially like from the cover and everything, I feel like it would have been cool if more of the story had taken place in Pasadena rather than Alaska. It kind of gets to Pasadena, quickly escalates, and then stops. I think it would have been better if more of the story had taken place, like maybe half to the end had taken place in Pasadena, and like the part in Alaska was much shorter. Because I think it would have just been more interesting. So this one was it was okay. But points for it for showing like an alternative like family situation. And then number 25 was Night of the Living Dummy 2. So we're back with Slappy. And the thing is, this is the only sequel, like the only number 2. There's plenty of like number 2 books, 2 and 3, and some of them even go on from there. But this is the only one I'm reading that's the second one. Probably because I was like so confused by the first one. I thought this would clear up some things, but I don't know. Yeah, so this is Night of the Living Dummy 2. Book number 25, as I said. And Amy already has a dummy named Dennis, but he's worse for wear. His head falls off a lot. So her dad gets Slappy for her at a pawn shop, very suspiciously cheaply. Like, that wasn't your first clue. And Amy, of course, is like just like the first book. Like, she's like the kid is practicing like a routine and like gonna like do kids' birthday parties and yada yada. And the dummy like kind of starts saying like really mean things like in the first one, unprompted, and of course the person, Amy, gets blamed for it. And there's this whole thing where Amy's sister is a very good artist and she's kind of like the golden child, and things start happening to her art and her room, things start getting ruined, and Amy's getting blamed for it, even though she didn't do it. She thinks Slappy did it. So basically she has to prove to her family that Slappy is doing all these things, and her parents are getting very worried about her because she's like, it's Slappy. They're like, okay, we need to call. They're making doctor's appointments because they think that she has needs some medical attention because they think she's going through some kind of crisis, and she needs to prove to her family that that Slappy is the one doing all this. And yeah, so it was pretty good. I definitely liked the ending of the little twist at the end better than the first one. I liked the family dynamic better in this one than I did the twins in Night of the Living Dummy 1. Yeah, this one was better. It doesn't really explain. It doesn't go on. It's from number 2. I mean, it doesn't go on from number 1. It's not a sequel, really. It's like a whole new story with Slappy. It's like Slappy always starts out in this pawn shop and then he comes into families' lives. But he didn't go from the number 1 to the 2. It's not the same family. So Still kind of confused about Slappy, but at least Slappy was the main character in this one. Not like the last book where Slappy was not even a B character. So this one made more sense, was more what I thought the first one would be, so it was better. Okay, 6 more books to go, guys. 6 more books. We can do this. I've got enough between the physical books that I have left and some audiobooks. So I think we're going to make it. It'll be close, but hang with me. Hi, everyone. It is Sunday, October 26th. We are getting close here, and I'm going to Disney today. And I wanted to film an update for you before I left, because there won't be a chance to really film the rest of the day. So I have 2 books to talk about, and then the book that I'm currently reading. So number 26 is A Night in Terror Tower. Eddie and Sue their parents are in London for meetings, and they sign them up for this tour group so they can go out and still see the city. And basically this whole story is inspired by the 2 princes that were imprisoned and killed in the Tower of London. So Terror Tower is basically the Tower of London, and they talk about how this prince and princess were kept there by their uncle, and then they were killed there. And yeah, so that's the kind of a twist on that story, if you're familiar with the Tower of London at all. And so Eddie and Sue start seeing all this weird stuff like kind of happening. They end up getting lost and separated from their tour group. And I don't want to say anymore because things start going pretty wonky pretty quickly. I just dropped my book. So I don't want to say anything because it does they leave the tower and then stuff starts happening, and yeah, I won't give any more away. But actually, I really loved the reveal in this episode. Reveal in this book. I feel like you could see it coming through like the first quarter for sure, but it didn't matter. Like I still really enjoyed it. I like the twist on it. I've been to the Tower of London several times, 2 or 3 times, and so I'm familiar with it, and I'm familiar with the story of the 2 princes. And yeah, I just thought this was an interesting one. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was good. It had a little bit of a weirdness with like a sorcerer, which whatever, that was fine, I guess. But I actually liked this one. This was one of the better ones. Book number 27, The Haunted Car. So Mitchell loves cars. He does models, all kind of thing, and all kind of those kind of things. And when his family needs a new car, he sees an ad for this like too good to be true ad about this car, and it says like name your price. So his dad and him go look at it, and it is kind of like too good to be true, but the dad like can't turn down the like amazing deal, and the guy's very desperate to get rid of it. So they buy this car, and Mitchell is like very drawn to it for some reason. And he gets in, he's 12, so he can't drive, but he sits in the car, and like he starts hearing voices and some weird stuff starts happening with the car. And yeah, him and his brother think it could be haunted. So like the big reveal was really stupid. And then like the story behind the ghost and why the ghost was doing what they were doing and all that, I did not like that. It just wasn't any good. But the very, very, very last twist, that made me chuckle a bit. That was actually pretty good. I hate to admit it, but it was. So I'm currently reading number 28, and that is The Blob That Ate Everyone. I am about on chapter 4 of that, and I have it on my Kindle on my phone. So I'm going to try to read it today at Disneyland while we're in lines and stuff. So we'll see how that goes, because I need to keep reading these books. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. That will be number 28. Hopefully I finish it at some point today. If not, it will be finished tomorrow. Hello everyone, I'm back with another update. It is Monday, October 27th, and I'm here to talk about 2 new book updates, and that is book number 28, The Blob That Ate Everyone. So this one is about Zachy, who wants to be a horror writer when he grows up, and he basically, and his friend and him, loot a store that has had a fire, and they try to steal, essentially, a old typewriter. They get caught by the owner, but the owner decides to give them the typewriter, Zachy the typewriter, and also like a antique pen. So he takes it, he goes home, he's going to write all of his scary stories on this typewriter. He's really excited about it. And when he finally does start to use the typewriter, he realizes that eventually, his friend actually realizes it first, Alex, I think, that what he's typing comes true. So I have seen the Goosebumps movie like in parts with my niece and nephew, and the one with Jack Black, and I feel like this is like a staple story of the Goosebumps movie because Jack Black uses a typewriter, I believe, to like write the stories. So obviously that's heavily from this, and I believe the Blob is in the movie. So obviously this had a heavy influence on Goosebumps the movie. But yeah, it was good. I really liked the idea of the typewriter as far as what he writes comes true. I think that's a really cool idea. I liked it when he first writes a dark and stormy night, and then all of a sudden it's a dark and stormy night, even though it was perfectly clear seconds before. I think that's really interesting. I liked that. I think they could have come up with much cooler things to do with that than a blob monster. But yeah, very cool. Again, like with a lot of Goosebumps book, very cool concept, not really executed in a super clever way. And R.L. Stine did it again. You have a like half decent story, and then you get to the end, and then it's like a complete right turn twist that doesn't make any sense, is not satisfying. So yeah, The Blob that ate everyone had an ending like that. So didn't love it. So book number 29 was a classic, The Haunted Mask. Now I remember watching this episode of the show very clearly, more clearly than I think any other one. So I knew it was a very popular, very classic Goosebumps book. So Carly Beth, I remember that name, oh my gosh. Carly Beth, honestly, Carly Beth needs to get some new friends. She needs to get some new friends because her friends are horrible, but they always have to scare her and tease her. They like had her eat a worm, like they are not good friends. And she says they ruin every Halloween for her, and she's gonna get them back this Halloween. She is gonna have like the scariest costume and really scare them. So she goes to this like costume store, and in the back room there's all these like freaky masks, and she eventually convinces the owner to let her buy one. And this mask kind of seems to like take over her personality a bit. It's harder to get off every time. Like it likes to like really get on her skin. And yeah, so she starts to feel pretty unexpectedly angry for no reason. And yeah, the mask is starting to like take over her. And yeah, this is total classic. This is a perfect Goosebumps book. The story makes sense throughout. What we spend our time doing in the book makes sense throughout the whole story. The ending and the twist was really good and made sense within the text of the story we've just read. So it doesn't take an insanely right turn that doesn't make any sense. So they did have a twist at the ending that I liked and that made sense. Yeah, it just was written really well. It was one of those ones that I forgot I was reading like a middle grade book. And it's a classic for a reason. Very good. I loved how we kind of saw like the evolution of Carly Beth like losing herself to the mask. This makes me want to watch the episode of the Goosebumps show again because this one brought back a lot of memories. So I am currently on number 30, guys. I only have 2 more to go. Can you believe it? And I'm listening to the audiobook of Monster Blood. Yep, I'm about, let's see here, 47% through Monster Blood, chapter 11. And yeah, not much has happened. Not much has happened, honestly. This kid, I don't even remember his name. He goes to stay with an aunt because his parents have to go out of town in like a family emergency and like find a new house or something. So he has to stay with a deaf gray aunt who's kind of weird. And he buys this canister of air quotes monster blood. And yeah, he has nothing to do. He meets like a neighbor kid, a girl, and they kind of are just playing around with this like slime, monster blood slime, kind of like yak. Or Gak. Gak. Yeah, remember Gak? I think it's supposed to be kind of like Gak, not yak. Gak. And, but it seems to like be growing. His dog eats some, so I hope the dog, I don't like when the animals get hurt in these stories. So yeah, we'll see. And I wonder if like the aunt's gonna play into it, because the aunt actually is super strange. Like creepy. The most like creepiest like human I've read that I can think of off the top of my head in these Goosebumps books so far. Like the aunt is creepy AF. So yeah, we'll see. The monster blood is starting to like get bigger and cause issues, cause trouble. So we'll see if it turns out to be a good one. I know there's multiple Monster Blood series, like there's like 2 and 3, Monster Blood 2 and Monster Blood 3. So I think it was pretty popular and successful, like Goosebumps book. So we'll see if I like it. I don't really have any expectations for it. So far, 47% through, not much has happened yet, so I can't really have an opinion. Hi everyone, we are here for our last Goosebumps update. It is Wednesday, October 29th. So I made it. I did it. I'm out of breath. I did it with 2 days to spare. So I'm going to talk about my last 2 books that I read in the challenge. Book number 30 was Monster Blood. So I talked a little bit about the synopsis, or like what this book is about, in the last clip. And so Evan, like, he gets this monster blood. It's starting to cause some problems. His dog eats it, and it's giving him some weird effects. I'll say that. His aunt is super weird. And yeah, basically the monster blood, or like the gack and the goo or whatever, just keeps growing out of control. And really nothing happens in this book until about 80% through. That's when like things actually start to happen. His aunt's cat's name is Sarah Beth, which I like cackled about the entire book. Sarah Beth. Yeah, the ending was ridiculous. I don't even understand the point of any of it. This was one of the most wonky ones I've read. I don't really understand how there's a Monster Blood 2 and a Monster Blood 3. Well, I kind of do. Because like, if you ingest the monster blood, stuff happens to you. So maybe that opens up a lot of opportunities for extra books. But I just did not understand why. Sometimes R.L. Stine's like brain, I just don't get it sometimes, I guess. Like from an adult perspective, I'm like, from a storytelling perspective, which you aren't, I guess, really looking at so critically when you're 12. This one was all over the place and so weird. We made it, guys. Book 31. The Scarecrow Walks at Midnight. So this wasn't about Jody and her brother, and they go to visit their grandparents' farm for a month every summer vacation to just get out of the city and like breathe some fresh air. And even though Jody is like deathly allergic to, well, not deathly, very allergic to like everything at the farm. So I don't know how much good the fresh air is doing her, but they go to visit their grandparents, and they have like Stanley is like the farm hand, and then he has a teenage son that lives with him, and they live in the guest house. So they notice right away that their grandparents are acting kind of weird, like they're not as fun or talkative. They have all these traditions they used to do every summer, and they're not really doing them anymore. And they kind of chalk it up to their grandparents just getting older. And yeah, they notice also that there are tons of scarecrows. Like, sure, have a scarecrow or 2 in a field, but there are tons of scarecrows. And Jody kind of notices that they seem to be moving some, and Stanley, the farm hands, are talking about this book of superstitions. And yeah, there's all this weirdness and like kind of tension around when they talk about these scarecrows. Jody thinks that some of these scarecrows are like popping out at her, like falling in front of them when they're riding horses. So yeah, she doesn't really think anything's happening like supernatural, but she does think that she's, like, someone's trying to trick her, like Stanley's teenage son. So yeah, she's gonna get him back, but then they might actually inadvertently find out like what's going on with these scarecrows for real. So that one was good. Like I said, good atmosphere. Stanley was relatively creepy. The setting was pretty creepy. Yeah, I think it was well written, pretty good. And the very, not twist, but the kind of cliffhanger open-ended was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. So now we are going to quickly run through the list of all 31 Goosebumps books that I read. I have a list here, and I'm going to just give them a thumbs up, thumbs down, or so-so. Just as a recap. All right. Oh boy, I have to like remember how I felt about all these. Okay, so Welcome to Dead House. Thumbs up. The Girl Who Cried Monster. Thumbs up. Phantom of the Auditorium. Thumbs down. One Day in Horrorland. I'm going to have to say thumbs down on that one. Egg Monsters from Mars, thumbs up. Why I'm Afraid of Bees, thumbs up. Night of the Living Dummy, so-so. Let's Get Invisible, thumbs up. How I Got My Shrunken Head, so-so. Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, thumbs up. Piano Lessons Can Be Murder, thumbs down. Careful What You Wish For, thumbs down. Say Cheese and Die, thumbs up. My Harris Adventure, thumbs down. Beware the Snowman, thumbs up. Deep Trouble, thumbs down. Go Eat Worms, thumb down. A Shocker on Shock Street, so-so. Welcome to Camp Nightmare, thumbs up. Thumbs up. The Headless Ghost, so-so. Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns, thumbs down. The Horror at Camp Jelly Jam, thumbs up. The Abominable Snowman of Pasadena, so-so. Night of the Living Dummy 2, so-so? Or thumbs up? No, that one's hard. Let's just give it thumbs up. A Night in Terror Tower, thumbs up. The Haunted Car, thumbs down. The Blob at Everyone, thumbs down. The Haunted Mask, thumbs up. Monster Blood, thumbs down. And The Scarecrow Walks at Midnight, thumbs up. And that's it. There are like 60 plus original Goosebumps books in the original series. So let me know next year if you want me to do 31 more. I could probably do that. So please subscribe if you haven't already. Please be sure to stop into our reading and productivity sprints. We have about twice a week. In the description box below, you'll find my Bookstagram, wish list, Goodreads, all the things. And I'll see you next time. Bye.